Ну, вы сейчас на русском языке. Нет, по-болгарски. Сегодня, вы знаете, 24 мая, это день.
Om Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So we are just about to finish first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam after what, maybe 2 months of classes. So it's if you remember, the last time what happened was Parikshit Maharaj was traveling and he went for hunting, and suddenly he felt very hungry and thirsty, and he went to the ashram of this great sage, and his idea was just to go there and try to get some refreshment, some food, some water. He went there, and sage was actually meditating so deeply that did not give him any attention. And then, by the will of the providence, by the special arrangement of Krishna, Parikshit Maharaj became angry. Yes, kind of. He became angry, like he's a great devotee of Krishna. Great devotees of Krishna, generally, they don't become angry so easily. But in this case, he became angry because that was a special arrangement of Krishna. Krishna wanted to bring him somewhere. Where? To the spiritual world very, very fast. And wanted to use him as an instrument so that Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken by Shukadeva Goswami. So the whole thing was kind of arrangement from Krishna. And apparently he became angry, and he put this dead snake around the neck of this sage. And then when his small son, Shringi, heard about this, he decided to curse the king. And he pronounced his curse. He said that the Shringi was the name of the son of this great sage. And when he saw what happened, he cursed the emperor, he cursed the king, that after 7 days, a special snake with a bird snake with wings will come, like a dragon, you could say, will come and will kill, will burn the king, Parikshit Maharaj. And after doing so, Shringi actually went back to his father, and then he told actually what actually happened. And then he understood, wait a minute, I did a serious mistake. So now we will finish this pastime of Bhagavatam. We are on chapter 18, if you want to look. Chapter 18 is the last chapter. We are on the verse 37. The Brahmana's son cursed the king thus: on the 7th day from today, a snake bird will bite the most wretched one of that dynasty, Maharja Parikshit, because of his having broken the laws of etiquette by insulting my father. 38. Thereafter, when the boy returned to the hermitage, he saw a snake on his father's shoulder, and out of his grief, he cried very loudly. So then he realized actually what he did. The purport of Srila Prabhupada says, the boy was not happy because he committed a great mistake, and he wanted to be relieved of the burden on his heart by crying. So after entering the hermitage and seeing his father in that condition, he cried loudly so that he might be relieved. but it was too late. The father regretted the whole incident. 39. O Brahmanas, the Rishi who was born in the family of Angira Muni, hearing his son crying, gradually opened his eyes and saw that snake around his neck. He threw the dead snake aside and asked his son why he was crying, whether anyone had done him harm. On hearing this, the son explained to him what had happened. The father heard from his son that the king had been cursed, although he should never have been condemned, for he was the best amongst all human beings. The rishi did not congratulate his son, but on the contrary began to repent, saying, Alas, what a great sinful act was performed by my son. He was awarded heavy punishment for an insignificant offense. So, in other words, okay, maybe the king, he did something wrong. Maybe his conduct was not the best in this situation, but definitely this activity was not deserving such a severe punishment. Like, for example, you come to me and you tell me few bad words, and I just take a knife and I kill you. It doesn't match. Okay, you tell me some words, okay, I tell you also some words. That's kind of normal, it's expected, yes. But in this case, for basically no reason, the boy cursed the king to die. And that was not just ordinary king, that was actually the emperor of the whole world. So he was on a very, very special position, very, very high position. Oh, my boy, your intelligence is immature, and therefore you have no knowledge that the king, who is the best among human beings, is as good as the personality of Godhead. He is never to be placed on an equal footing with common men. The citizens of the state live in prosperity, being protected by his insurpassable powers. My dear boy, the Lord who carried the wheel of chariot is represented by the monarchical regime, and when the regime is abolished, the whole world becomes filled with thieves, who then at once vanquish the unprotected subjects like scattered lamps. So in other words, the father Brahman is saying, the problem is that you kill the king, but then because of the lack of a very good ruler, the consequences will be people will degrade. Because there'll be thieves, nobody will stop them, they'll start doing all kinds of bad things to the normal people, and also nobody will follow that people are performing their duties properly. This is also another very important task of the king. So from many, many different perspectives, what you did is very, very wrong, actually. This is what the father is saying to his son. And then he's giving other reasons why that was bad. Then he's saying in text 46, Emperor Parikshit is a pious king. So he's a pious. He is highly celebrated and he's a first-class devotee of the personality of Godhead. So he's not just a good king. He's not just a king. He's not just a good king, but he's also a devotee, actually, very elevated devotee. So all this, when it comes in combination, makes it very, very bad that he was cursed in this way. He is a saint among royalty, and he has performed many horse sacrifices. When such a king is tired and fatigued, being stricken with a hunger and thirst, he does not at all deserve to be cursed. Then the rishi prayed to the all-pervading personality of Godhead to pardon his immature boy who had no intelligence and who committed the great sin of cursing a person who was completely free from all sins, who was subordinate and who deserved to be protected. Here we have a special verse, very beautiful verse. This is verse 48 from this chapter. Tirashkrita vipralabda sapta kshipta hata api nasya tat pratikurvanti mad bhakta prabhavo hi. The devotees of the Lord are so forbearing that even though they are defamed, cheated, cursed, disturbed, neglected, or even killed, they are never inclined to avenge themselves.
Just like Prahlad Pandit.
Yes, for example, Ambarish Maharaj, another great example. Many devotees, they were put in a great difficulties and still they were not trying to retaliate for this. Rather, they were just tolerating and depending on the mercy of the Lord.
Chitrakarta Maharaj, Thakur Haridas.
Yes,
He was cursed by Durga Devi.
many.
was the one that he was fasting on Kaddish. The Vasani showed up.
That is Amrish.
Ambarish, sorry. The one that had 100 sons. No?
He had no, he had one son. And his son was killed by the co-wives because they became enemies. They poisoned him. Six. Is it six canto?
Yes. He was a great king. Then he was cursed by Parvati, Durga Devi, and he was born as a great demon. But actually his consciousness was consciousness of a devotee. So he was in a very difficult situations. Like first Durga Devi cursed him, he did not retaliate. Yeah, then he was fighting with Indra, and he was much stronger than Indra, so he could be the winner. But because he understood actually the arrangement of Krishna is such that I have to be killed. So he said to Indra, oh, actually you have to kill me. So pick up your weapon and just fight until you kill me. So he was not protesting that he is going to be killed. He just accepted the plan of Krishna.
Go with the flow.
So he was acting in a very interesting way. So yeah, this shows how great are the devotees of the Lord.
Killing was like, cut my head off with a plastic knife.
With his Vajra.
Yeah.
It took him 1 year to kill.
Yeah. That was crazy. I remember that.
Srila Prabhupada is saying in his purport, Rishi Shamika, so this is the father of Shringi, knew that the Lord does not forgive a person who has committed an offense at the feet of a devotee. The Lord can only give direction to take shelter of a devotee. He thought within himself that if Maharaja Parikshit would counter-curse the boy, he might be saved. But he knew also that a pure devotee is careless about worldly advantages or reverses. As such, the devotees are never inclined to counteract personal defamation, curses, negligence, etc. As far as such things are concerned, in personal affairs, the devotees do not care for them. But in a case of their being performed against the Lord and his devotees, then the devotees take very strong action. It was a personal affair, and therefore Shamika Rishi knew that the king would not take counteraction. Thus, there was no alternative than to place an appeal to the Lord for the immature boy. It is not only that the Brahmanas are powerful enough to award curses or blessings upon the subordinates. The devotee of the Lord Even though he may not be a Brahmana, he is more powerful than a Brahmana. But a powerful devotee never misuses the power for personal benefit. Whatever power the devotee may have is always utilized in service towards the Lord and his devotees only. So in other words, Parikshit Maharaj was strong enough and capable enough to counteract this curse, to become free from the curse. But because it was a personal case, he didn't want to use his powers for this. If it would be some problem with other devotee or Krishna, then he would use his powers. But for himself, he was no, okay, that's arrangement of Krishna. Let it be. Whatever Krishna wants, let it happen. So he was ready just to let it go.
But it's difficult for us to know what Krishna wants from us. Really.
Just the point is that if someone comes and he's trying personally to offend you or to be against you or to harm you or something, generally a devotee, he will just tolerate if he's very advanced devotee. He won't take action back. If someone is trying to do something to other devotee, then he'll take action. Then he'll say something, then he'll do something. So because Parikshit Maharaj was very elevated devotee, he didn't want to take any action. He was not interested. The sage thus regretted the sin committed by his own son. He did not take the insult paid by the king very seriously. Generally, the transcendentalists, even though engaged by others in the dualities of the material world, are not distressed, nor do they take pleasure in worldly things, for they are transcendentally engaged. So this is the greatness of the great devotees. They are transcendentally situated. They are not so much disturbed by things that are happening on the material platform. They may get something big, they may lose something, they may be cursed, or they may be glorified. They don't take it so seriously because it's material. These are great devotees. Generally, we are not like that. We are becoming influenced. We are becoming angry. Why he's talking like that to me? Who is he? I'm greater than him. I'm more advanced. I'm a senior devotee. It is that our false ego is entering the picture. Okay, and now we will go through the last chapter of this first canto of Bhagavatam, chapter 19, the appearance of Shukadeva Goswami. So all this arrangement was done only so that Shukadeva Goswami can come and Parikshit Maharaj can go on the bank of the Ganges and they can meet together.
Sri Sutta Goswami said, while returning home, the king, Maharaja Parikshit, felt that the act he had committed against the faultless and powerful Brahmana was heinous and uncivilized. Consequently, he was distressed. So this is the evaluation that the king himself made. Purport. The pious king regretted his accidental improper treatment of the powerful Brahmana, who was faultless. Such repentance is natural for a good man like the king, and such repentance delivers the devotee from all kinds of sins accidentally committed. This is very important. So, how a devotee get relief from the sinful reactions? By repentance. He
did something, he understands.
He understands there is something wrong. He repents. He makes a firm resolution. I will not do this again. And this is how he get free of the sinful action.
Even if he doesn't understand, just in case Manchakova will show.
Also, yeah.
Sins accidentally committed. So he doesn't need to be humiliated in front of the whole society. Doesn't need to go in the how the medieval Christians, they would whip themselves. Have you seen in the movies? He doesn't have to do these things. Repentance is enough. The devotees are naturally faultless. Accidental sins committed by a devotee are sincerely regretted by the grace of the Lord. All sins unwillingly committed by a devotee are burned in the fire of repentance. King Parikshit told, due to my neglecting the injunctions of the Supreme Lord, I must certainly expect some difficulty to overcome me in the near future. I now desire without reservation that the calamity come now, for in this way I may be freed of the sinful action and not commit such an offense again. So, just like if you remember the story of King Nriga, he was very pious king, but he committed one mistake. And when he was in front of Yamaraj, Yamaraj told him, you have performed so many pious activities that practically you will stay forever in heaven. But there is one mistake, one sin that you have committed, and for this you have to go to hell. So which one you want to be first? First you want to enjoy, or first you want to experience the result of sin? And because King Nriga was pious man, he decided, first let me suffer, and then let me enjoy. So here Maharaja Parikshit, in the same way, he says, let me suffer now, whatever I have committed offense, let me suffer now, the reactions. So that I, yes, you want to say something?
He didn't get devotional service.
He did, because he met, you mean King Nriga?
Yeah.
Yeah, he met Krishna. He became a lizard. And the children of Yellow Dynasty, they saw this lizard. They were huge. Lizard.
Oh,
Gusta.
wow.
And Krishna came and delivered him. So it was good for him. Otherwise, if he would have chosen to go to heaven, then he would have missed the chance to meet Krishna.
For enjoyment.
Yeah. Here, Prabhupada writes, a man's personal misconduct affects all his family members. Therefore, Maharaja Parikshit desired the calamity to fall on him alone. By suffering personally, he would be restrained from future sins, and at the same time, the sin which he had committed will be counteracted so that his descendants will not suffer. So better, just thinking better the reaction to come now, and it is counteracted. I suffered it out, and then my future descendants don't have to suffer. He continued, I am uncivilized and sinful due to my neglect of the Brahminical culture, God consciousness, and cow protection. Therefore, I wish that my kingdom, strength, and riches burn up immediately by the fire of the Brahmana's wrath, so that in the future I may not be guided by such inauspicious attitudes. While the king was thus repenting, he received news of his imminent death, which would be due to the bite of the snake bird, occasioned by the curse spoken by the sage's son. The king accepted this as good news, for it will be the cause of his indifference toward worldly things. So this is another extraordinary thing. Imagine you get the news that you will die in 7 days, and your reaction is, this is good.
Very nice.
Oh, very nice.
Oh.
I mean,
Why? Because, okay, now for such a long time I was attached to so many material things. Okay, now at least I have 7 days. I know I have 7 days. These 7 days I will completely free myself from all kinds of materialistic duties and just focus on Krishna. And I have 7 days to do that. That was his reaction.
7 days, 50 years, same thing, right? Yeah, 50 years, get rid of attachment.
Maharaja Parikshit sat down firmly on the banks of the Ganges to concentrate his mind in Krishna consciousness, rejecting all other practices of self-realization. Because transcendental loving service to Krishna is the greatest achievement, superseding all other methods. So this was his reaction. He immediately left the palace and he just decided to dedicate the last days of his life to remember hearing and hearing, basically hearing about Krishna. This is what we all have to do.
Also a question. Who wrote? This is Srimad Bhagavatam is a story that was spoken by Sukadeva Goswami. Who wrote the first canto? Because the first canto
Yeah.
describes the
Yesterday,
Vyasa.
that's the author of Bhagavatam.
Yeah.
Shukadeva is a speaker, but he was taught by his father.
And then Sutta Goswami comes.
Sutta Goswami comes, he's the original speaker,
He's the
but
son.
but he's after Shukadeva Goswami.
Yeah, he's the son of Parikshit.
Sutta Goswami is, no, he's the son of Ugrashrava, no, Ramaharshana Sutta, who was killed by
one of
Bhav.
the sages that was present.
Yes, he was present when Shukadeva Goswami spoke.
Yeah, just to read.
Yeah, it's story in the story in the story.
Story is like
But you have sometimes in Bhagavatam, Vyasa said,
yes.
you have this also.
Yeah.
Rarely, but you do.
Generally, Shukadeva Goswami speaks to Maharaja Parikshit, and Shukadeva Goswami is telling different stories about different personalities. And Sutta Goswami is speaking to the sages of Naimisharanya what Shukadeva Goswami talked with Parikshit Maharaj.
Narashan is the forest.
Yes. So generally it goes like that.
The river, the river Ganges, by which the king said to fast, carries the most auspicious water, which is mixed with the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord and tulsi leaves. Therefore, that water sanctifies the three worlds, inside and outside, and even sanctifies Lord Shiva and other demigods. Consequently, everyone who is destined to die must take shelter of this river. So, very auspicious, he went and sat on the bank of the river of the Ganges, which is a holy river, holy place. And then all the great sages from the whole universe, they understood that there will be special occasions, so they all came to bless him and also to hear Bhagavatam from Shukadeva Goswami. So it was very auspicious.
In the purport, it is also mentioned that Jiva Goswami is mentioning that actually it looks like Parikshit Maharaj was sitting on the Yamuna river. Why? Because he was emperor in Hastinapur, which is considered New Delhi nowadays. So actually there Yamuna is floating.
Yeah,
so
according to Srila Jiva Goswami.
it's very logical that he would just come out of his city and sit on the Yamuna river. But anyway, Ganges, Yamuna, there was an interesting quote. They are considered the same, but the quote was saying, when you sanctify Ganges 100 times, this is called Yamuna. So Yamuna is considered even more.
According to the Varaha Purana, as quoted by Srila Jiva Goswami, there is no difference between the water of the Ganges and the Yamuna, but when the water of the Ganges is sanctified 100 times, it is called the Yamuna. So that's the difference. Otherwise, no difference. So Yamuna is even more sacred. Why? Because it was directly, it is directly connected with the pastimes of Krishna.
When the father of Krishna was bringing him from Mathura to Vrindavan, he had to cross this river, Yamuna, and the river actually make a road for Vasudeva to pass through. But while they were walking, Yamuna wanted also to get the mercy of Krishna. So actually, by chance, Vasudeva dropped Krishna in the waters of the river.
And it was a stormy night.
Stormy river.
Big waves. It was dangerous.
So the point is that the lotus feet of Krishna touch the waters of Yamuna. And that's why she is considered very special, very sacred.
When Gopal Krishna Goswami, when he passed away, And when he left his disciples, they left him on the Yamuna River.
On the bank of the Hare Krishna.
And also the Acharyas explained that this was done by Krishna to see the reaction of Vasudeva, because Vasudeva is his father. And when Krishna fell on the in the water, Vasudeva became mad of
Worry.
he was very worried. So Krishna wanted to see how his devotee will react. Okay, thus the king, the worthy descendant of the Pandavas, decided once and for all, and sat on the Ganges bank to fast until death, and give himself up to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, who alone is able to work liberation. So, freeing himself from all kinds of association and attachments, he accepted the vows of a sage. So, he decided that he will not eat, he will not drink, fasting until death, something. Just like the Pandavas decided to go on a Mahaprasthan towards north, the Kshatriyas, they do stuff like that. Also, Kadama Maharaj, he started to fast at the end. He was just fasting.
Right before the fast.
Yeah.
Maybe the last 2 weeks
2 weeks.
he was basically not eating and drinking some water.
That's it. What does it all want?
Because the body was creating too many troubles. It was already a big trouble to even to go to the toilet. So he just said, okay, just stop all this. Just focus on Krishna.
All that time, all the great minds and thinkers, at that time, all the great minds and thinkers, accompanied by their disciples and sages who could verily sanctify a place of pilgrimage just by their presence, arrived there on the plea of making a pilgrimage journey. So, from different parts of the universe, there arrived great sages like Atri, Chavana, Sharadvan, Arishtanemi, Brigu, Vasishta, Parashara, Vishwamitra, Angira, Parashuram, Utatya, Indra Pramada, Idmavaho, Medatiti, Devala, Arishtasena, Bharadvaj, Gautam, Pipalada, Maitreya, Aurva, Kavasa, Kumbayoni, Vaipayana, and the great personality Narada.
So in other words, if all these great personalities, all the greatest personality in the universe, they are descending, that means something very, very special will happen. Otherwise, why they are going to come? The greatest sages from the whole universe are gathering. That means something very, very special will be happening. So in other words, the fact that Shukadeva Goswami is speaking Bhagavatam is not just like a normal conversation. Yeah, two personalities are meeting and the one is just about to die and they just have a talk and the one is kind of relaxing him, don't worry, everything will be fine. All these great sages wouldn't come from the whole universe. They knew something very, very special would happen. That's why they came.
There were also many other saintly demigods, kings, and special royal orders called Arunadayas, a special rank of Rajarshis from different dynasties of sages. When they all assembled together to meet the emperor Parikshit, he received them properly and bowed his head to the ground. After all the rishis and others had seated themselves comfortably, the king, humbly standing before them with folded hands, told them of his decision to fast until death. The fortunate king said, "Indeed, we are the most grateful to all the kings who are trained. We are the most grateful of all the kings who are trained to get favors from the great souls. Generally, you, sages, consider royalty as refuse to be rejected and left in a distant place. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, according to religious principles, stool, urine, wash water, etc. must be left at a long distance. Attached bathrooms, urinals, etc. may be very convenient amenities of modern civilization, but they are ordered to be situated at a distance from residential quarters. That very example is cited herein in relation to the kingly order for those who are progressively marching back to Godhead.
I think it's within the Shraddha era. That's how far they used to put bathrooms in that.
Also traditionally in old medieval Europe,
Outhouses.
still, yeah. So the idea here is because the kings are dealing directly with the material energy, and they are usually called Vishayi, sense enjoyers, therefore, of course, not saintly kings like Parikshit Maharaj, but general kings. Therefore, the sages, they don't deal very closely with them. And therefore, Maharaja Parikshit is grateful that although he's a king, and normally is not looked very favorably by these sages, now, when he was about to leave this world, they came to bless him, so he's very grateful. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the controller of both the transcendental and mundane worlds, has graciously overtaken me in the form of a Brahmana's curse. Due to me being too much attached to family life, the Lord, in order to save me, has appeared before me in such a way that only out of fear I will detach myself from the world. So this is
The vision of Parikshit Maharaj.
that I was a very attached householder, and because Krishna saw that I'm too attached, he decided to break my attachment by blessing me through this curse of this Brahmana.
Make a special
O Brahmanas, just accept me as a completely surrendered soul, and let Mother Ganges, the representative of the Lord, also accept me in that way. For I have already taken the lotus feet of the Lord into my heart. Let the snake bird or whatever magical thing the Brahmana created bite me at once. I only desire that you all continue singing the deeds of Lord Vishnu. Again, offering obeisances into all you Brahmanas, I pray that if I should again take my birth in the material world, I will have complete attachment to the unlimited Lord Krishna, association with his devotees, and friendly relations with all living beings. So this is what he wants. Just like Mahaprabhu praised, Mama
Janmani Bhagavatam Bhakti Ahait.
Yes. He doesn't even pray for liberation. I think somebody else had these desires for blessings. I think from 10th canto, one of these devotees of Krishna from Mathura, I think the florist, he had the same desire.
He just say one time he wants what? Literal liberation, but he wants.
He says, I pray that if I should take again birth in the material world, I will have complete attachment to the unlimited Lord Krishna, full attachment to Krishna, association with his devotees, second, and third, friendly relations with all living beings. Three things.
So attachment to Krishna, good relationships with the devotees, and good relationships with all living entities. That's amazing prayer. This is 1:19:16.
Yes.
1:19:16.
In perfect self-control, Maharaja Parikshit sat down on a seat of straw, with straw roots facing the east, placed on the southern bank of the Ganges, and he himself faced the north. Just previously, he had given charge of his kingdom over to his son. Thus the king, Maharaja Parikshit, set to fast until death. All the demigods of the higher planets praised the king's action and in pleasure continually scattered flowers over the earth and beads and celestial drums. All the great sages who were assembled there also praised the decision of Maharaja Parikshit, and they expressed their approval by saying, "Very good." Naturally, the sages are inclined to do good to common men, for they have all the qualitative powers of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, they were very much pleased to see Maharaja Parikshit, a devotee of the Lord, and they spoke as follows. Hare Krishna, you have some questions or somebody wants to say something on internet?
I have no questions, but thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you too. We just want to make sure that we are.
We're here.
Yes. Thank you very much. Okay, the sages said, O chief of all the saintly kings of the Pandu dynasty, who are strictly in the line of Lord Sri Krishna, it is not at all astonishing that you give up your throne, which is decorated with the helmets of many kings, to achieve eternal association with the personality of Godhead. So all the kings and all the sages gathered, they praise Maharaja Parikshit. And then in the purport, Prabhupada writes, foolish politicians who hold political administrative posts think that the temporary posts they occupy are the highest material gain in life, and therefore they stick to those posts even up to the last moment of life, without knowing that achievement of liberation as one of the associates of the Lord in his eternal abode is the highest gain of life. The human life is meant for achieving this end. The Lord has assured us in the Bhagavad Gita many times that going back to Godhead, his eternal abode, is the highest achievement. Then Prabhupada quotes Prahlad Maharaj, who while praying to Lord Nrsimhadeva said, "Oh my Lord, I am very much afraid of the materialistic way of life, and I am not the least afraid of your present ghastly, ferocious feature as Nrsimhadev. This materialistic way of life is something like a grinding stone, and we are being crushed by it. We have fallen into this horrible whirlpool of the tossing waves of life. And thus, my Lord, I pray at your lotus feet to call me back to your eternal abode as one of your servitors. This is the summit liberation of this materialistic way of life. I have very bitter experience of the materialistic way of life." Now Prahlad Maharaj will summarize the materialistic way of life. He says there are two things. In whichever species of life I have taken birth, compelled by the force of my own activities, I have very painfully experienced two things, namely, separation from my beloved and meeting with what is not wanted. Now, these are the two things. And to counteract them, the remedies which I undertook were more dangerous than the disease itself. So you take some medicine, you're sick, you take a medicine, but the medicine is more dangerous than the disease itself.
Material existence means you want not to be separated from certain things, but the time will separate you from them. And you don't want to meet certain things in your life, but the time will make you meet those things. These two things, they always happen.
Amazing.
So you don't want suffering, but suffering comes in your life. And you want happiness, but the happiness, even if it comes in your life, very soon disappears. This is the description of material existence of Prahlad Maharaj. And then you try to do something as a solution of the problem, and then the situation becomes even more complicated.
Hare
Worse.
Krishna is the only solution.
Hare Krishna is the only three solution. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Also, yes, the only solution.
Okay, we shall all wait here until the foremost devotee of the Lord, Maharaja Parikshit, returns to the spiritual planet, to the supreme planet, which is completely free from all mundane contamination and all kinds of limitation. All that was spoken by the great sages was very sweet to hear, full of meaning, and appropriately presented as perfectly true. So after hearing them, Maharaja Parikshit, desiring to hear of the activities of Lord Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, congratulated the great sages. The king said, "O great sages, you have all very kindly assembled here, having come from all parts of the universe. You are all as good as supreme knowledge personified, who resides in the planet above the three worlds, Satyaloka. Consequently, you are naturally inclined to do good to others. But for this you have no interest, either in this life or in the next. So therefore, the great sages, whatever they say, is true. Because why people will deceive you? Because they have some material interest. They want to bewilder you so that you're in illusion, and while you're in illusion, they take advantage of you. That's what usually happens. But the sages, the great devotees, they don't have material desires. So whatever they say must be true. Because they don't have
Some
some
selfish goal to achieve.
yes, through you. They don't want to exploit you. They don't want to.
Their intention is pure.
The intention, yes, the intention is pure. And here it is stated that you are naturally inclined to do good to others, but for this you have no interest either in this life or in the next. They only are well wishers of all living entities. They don't have any other agenda. Therefore, we can trust them. That's the big issue nowadays. People don't trust anybody.
Yeah.
They don't trust even themselves.
Especially if you try to distribute books.
Yeah, people are just, there's so many hustlers around, so many cheaters, so many things are going on in this city. So the moment you approach somebody, you see people, they think, whoa, he wants to cheat me. Otherwise, why would he come and talk to me? He wants something. This is the natural reaction. So the Sankirtan devotees, they have to push through this screen by Krishna's mercy and to contact the soul on the level of the soul. This is possible only by Krishna's mercy. Otherwise, it's very difficult. O trustworthy Brahmanas, I now ask you about my immediate duty. Please, after proper deliberation, tell me of the unalloyed duty of everyone in all circumstances, and especially of those who are just about to die.
So Shukadeva Goswami, he is sorry, Parikshit Maharaj, he's in the situation, he doesn't have unlimited time. If you have unlimited time, you can do whatever you like. Okay, let me try for 2 weeks this, then let me try for 1 month something else, then let me try something
Let
else.
me enjoy now, and when I become 60, 70, then I will surrender.
And then I will invest in spiritual life. But in his case, he has only 7 days. So he doesn't have time to experiment. Oh, let's see, by experiment, what is the best thing? No. And he is asking very firm question. Tell me, what is the best thing? I have time only for one thing. What is the best thing to guarantee that I will achieve spiritual perfection? And he is asking the greatest authorities in the universe.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Just to gain clarity. How can you take a decision? Maybe you're in a stage of transition when you're leaving your old state of life of consciousness and entering into a new one. You don't have a foundation base
clear for you to be able to be taking a clear decision. What can you do in that situation?
So the question is, how can you make such an important decision when there is very little time for you, and then you don't have a foundation, you don't know what are the proper choices, you're not prepared, there is no, if I understand correctly, you don't have the proper background so that you can make an educated decision where to go. Therefore, Kamara actually pragyo dharma bhagavatamiha durlabam manusham janma tatmani
Tatapi.
tatapi dhruvam artadam. Adruvam artadam. Yeah, Bhagavatam says, therefore, from the very beginning of life, from the tender age of 5, everybody should start his quest for self-realization, so that at the end of life he has the proper background. Understand?
Yes.
You're right. If you spend uselessly your whole life in materialistic pursuits, then at the end of life you'll be lost. You don't know what to do. But therefore, the spiritual science, Bhagavatam, the great personalities, they teach us that we have to start this spiritual process as early as possible. As early as possible. And then, by the time when it is time for us to leave this world, we will have accumulated some Krishna karma, some spiritual realization, some knowledge, some attraction to Krishna, some spiritual credit. And then on this basis, we'll be able to pass the test.
Say, one question, you can obtain those credits, but you said even though you're not like in the temple, being in the body, being completely outside, but you're actually doing service to others without literally expecting anything back to them, just like genuinely coming from your heart and serving and doing beneficial work to the others. And
So-
to other people.
So the question is, in case you didn't hear, so the question is, can you attain this credit, this qualification, without being a devotee, without living in a temple, just being outside and rendering selfless service to the humanity, something like this? No, not exactly. You cannot, because you will be lacking of knowledge, proper knowledge, sambandha gyan. You will not know who God is. You will not know who you are in relation with Him, and you will not know what is the ultimate goal, and you will not know how to attain this goal. So all this will be lacking. Although you have good intentions, and let's say you you did some very nice altruistic activities, you try to serve selflessly humanity, etc., but you don't know how to serve properly. You don't know. You don't know that they're spirit soul, that you're spirit soul. You think probably that they're the body, so you serve the body, but serving the body doesn't help because the body is temporary, and you have no any idea about God. So how can you attain God and ultimate end of life if you don't know what is the ultimate goal, but you don't know God? So you may be outside of the temple, but still have to have knowledge about Krishna, about soul, about devotional service. So, and therefore, yes,
I have a question,
yes,
kind of similar question. I understand that, you need to start your spiritual life as soon as possible in life, but for some people, me including, I started not early in life, right? So my question is that baggage of spiritual knowledge that I still will accumulate until the end of my days, whenever it will be, will I be able to bring it to the next life with me to continue my spiritual journey? Do you think there is a hope for that, or how does it work exactly? Like, I'm sure I won't be able to become a great saint in just, whatever number of years I have left.
Yeah, first, whatever knowledge we gain If it's a spiritual knowledge, it stays eternally with us. There is a verse in Bhagavad Gita, 240, Neha vikramanashosti pratyavayona vidyate, sva alpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bayat. Whatever we achieve in spiritual life, being knowledge or blessings or realizations, all this will stay our eternal credit, so we'll never lose it. That's why Srila Prabhupada is saying, if in this life we make 1% of progress in spiritual life, that means next life we will start from 2%. And in this way, when we become completely perfect, this is the moment when we will go back to the spiritual world. Now, different people, they're moving with different speed. Some
No, I
people,
understand, yeah.
yes, some people, they'll be able to make 5% this lifetime. Other people, 55%. Other people, 95%. We are not perfect personalities, and we cannot expect that we will do the things perfectly, but rather we try to give our best. And one very important component is we are trying actively to do something for the spreading of Krishna consciousness, because the endeavors that you are putting to spread the Krishna consciousness movement, to give chance to other living entities to become one way or the other connected with Krishna, this is a very, very unique credit. So you on your personal spiritual path may not be 100% perfect. Maybe you can be whatever, 60 or 70 or 80% perfect. But if you did very selflessly a lot to help others to join this path, to stay on the spiritual path and make steps towards Krishna, this puts you in a very special category. So although you may not be completely perfect at the end of your life, still Krishna or the great Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, they may decide to take you back to the spiritual world. On the basis of their power, not on the basis of your perfection. So this is something very, very unique for this Krishna consciousness movement. It's not just a movement for self-realization, in a sense. It's a rather movement for spreading the mercy to others. And whoever is actively engaged in this activity, he is getting very, very special bonus. So
It is a good news, yeah.
we are trying not just to be depending on our personal perfection. Yes, we definitely try to do as much as possible, but even if we give our best, we already know it won't be enough. It won't be enough because we are in Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga means everything is yes. Kali Yuga is ocean of mistakes. Everything is imperfect. Everything is perverted. Everything is impure. But if we give our sincere endeavors to help spreading of this movement, this gives us very, very special, unique credit, unique position.
Hare Krishna. So do you remember what chapter was that verse in Bhagavad Gita?
240.
240, okay.
Second chapter, verse 40.
Muchas gracias.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Neha vikramana shosti pratyavayona vidyate. There is no loss and diminution in this endeavor, and the smallest advancement on this path can free the man from the greatest fear. This is the meaning of the verse.
Okay, now Shukadeva Goswami appears on the scene. The son of Vyasadeva was only 16 years old. His legs, hands, thighs, arms, shoulders, forehead, and the other parts of his body were all delicately formed. His eyes were beautifully white, and his nose and ears were highly raised. He had a very attractive face, and his neck was well formed and beautiful like a conch. His collarbone was fleshy, and his chest broad and thick, his navel deep, and his abdomen beautifully striped. His arms were long, and curly hair was strewn over his beautiful face. He was naked, and the hue of his body reflected that of Lord Krishna. He was blackish and very beautiful due to his youth, because of the glamour of his body and his attractive smiles. He was pleasing to women, though he tried to cover his natural glories. The great sages present there were all expert in the art of physiognomy, and so they honored him by rising from their seats. So they, just by looking at him, they understood that this is a special soul because of his body, although he didn't have any dress. So he was just walking around like.
And he was super young.
And he was 16 years old.
In
And
comparison to all these great personalities.
very old sage.
Vyasadeva was there.
His father.
Vyasadeva, his father.
Narada Muni was there.
Who is incarnation of God and who is like, who wrote the Vedic literatures, and Narada Muni, one of the greatest personalities, and still they understood this person is special.
Yeah. So
What's the significance of long arms?
it is a common sign of great personality.
Mahapurusha.
Mahapurusha.
Like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur.
У нашей организации длинные руки.
He has very long hands. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. They
Um,
say he could practically touch his knees.
it gives Mahaprabhu too. Yeah. I don't know
So
exactly.
you're saying LeBron maybe in that category?
I mean, the thing is that many people, they can have some aspects, because there are more than 30, I think, different symptoms of this of great personality, and some may have a little longer.
Where can we look them up?
There's Shastra for this. Shastra in the, I'm not sure which, but somewhere in the Dharma Shastras, Ramayana, Mahabharata. So some may have some of them, one or two, but he had all of them, and Krishna too, and the great personalities. So long arms, I think, it gives you natural advantage, right? For example, in a fight.
Or book distribution.
Or
You
best.
can easily reach people.
Yeah, rich.
Maharaja Parikshit, who is also known as Vishnu Rata, one who is always protected by Vishnu, bowed his head to receive the chief guest, Shukadeva Goswami. At that time, all ignorant women and boys ceased following Srila Shukadeva. Receiving respect from all, Shukadeva Goswami took his exalted seat. So because he was very beautiful and young and without clothes, so there were many ignorant people, women and children, they were following him and making fun of him. So he was what? Huh? Of Shukadeva Goswami. Because he was Avaduta, he didn't care about social convention. He would just not have it at all. He doesn't care about what people think. He didn't wear clothes. He doesn't care. So people naturally were, who is this? What is this? And they were like mocking him and laughing at him. And what happened? They came into the center of these great personalities, and then they saw suddenly how all these the greatest sages of the universe, they stood up and they offered respect to this young boy. And then these ignorant people, they understood that there's something wrong here, because they thought this guy is crazy. And actually now he's getting the respect of all these great personalities. So there is something wrong, so they left. Shukadeva Goswami was then surrounded by saintly sages and demigods, just as the moon is surrounded by stars, planets, and other heavenly bodies.
They weren't qualified to hear.
Yeah, imagine, huh? You were there, you could have heard Bhagavatam by Shukadeva Goswami, but you...
Because they weren't making fun of them.
They left. They could have stayed, but they were not interested. What is this? His presence was gorgeous, and he was respected by all. And he didn't care whether they respect him or not. They respect him, but he doesn't care. The sage Sri Shukadeva Goswami sat perfectly pacified, intelligent, and ready to answer any question without hesitation. The great devotee Maharaja Parikshit approached him, offered his respects by bowing before him, and politely inquired with sweet words and folded hands. The fortunate King Parikshit said, "O Brahmana, by your mercy only, you have sanctified us, making us like unto places of pilgrimage, all by your presence here as my guest. By your mercy, we, who are but unworthy royalty, became eligible to serve the devotee. Simply by our remembering you." And this is the person who, Parikshit Maharaj, this is the person who Krishna personally saved in the womb. And people having so much false pride, and people are so puffed up, especially in Kali Yuga. And he is a person who actually has a reason to be puffed up, because who can claim that Krishna, God personally came to save you in the womb of your mother? He's the only one who can say that, and he behaved like ordinary king, like ordinary guy. Simply by our remembering you, our houses become instantly sanctified. And what to speak of seeing you, touching you, washing your holy feet, and offering you a seat in our home. Just as the atheist cannot remain in the presence of the personality of Godhead, so also the unvulnerable sins of man are immediately vanquished by your presence, O saint, O great mystic. Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is very dear to the sons of King Pandu, has accepted me as one of those relatives just to please his great cousins and brothers. But this is another typical symptom of a pure devotee. He doesn't take a credit. Many instances are like this. For example, when Narada Muni was praising Indra as the greatest devotee, Narada Muni said, "You're the greatest devotee. God himself became your brother." Because Vamanadev, Upendra, is the younger brother of Indra. And Indra said, Narada Muni, why are you talking like this? The Lord came and accepted this position as my younger brother only because he wanted to please my mom. She prayed to him. And also he wants to accomplish the mission of the demigods. It's nothing to do with me. It's not a mercy for me. He didn't come because of me. He came because he has a mission to complete. And so many other times also. The devotees are always.
And so,
not-
Bhagavatamrita,
Yeah,
right in the beginning, where Narada Muni travels around, and
yeah, that's what I was quoting too.
that's what you meant. Okay, I'm
Yeah,
sorry
yeah.
about that. That's what the.
Yeah, exactly. No, very good. That's very nice.
I was just reading it with Siddhahari, actually. He's
Yeah.
leading class right now. It's really early, that's 6 a.m. on that scripture.
Very nice.
It's a very nice.
It's an amazing book.
It's like equal to Srimad Bhagavatam, right? It's somewhere in the
Mhm,
I forgot what
mhm.
it said. In the Shastras.
It is the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam.
It's essence, there we go, essence.
And Bhagavatam is the essence of all Vedas.
The juice of the juice.
It gets even sweeter and sweeter.
Juicier.
Otherwise, without being inspired by Lord Krishna, how is it that you have voluntarily appeared here, though you're moving incognito to the common man and are not visible to us who are on the verge of death? So Shukadeva Goswami is the greatest personality, one of the greatest personality, and he's moving incognito. He pretends to be a crazy personality, so the people left him alone. Usually, if you have some talents, some abilities, you want to take advantage of them.
Show them.
You want to show off, even if it's something very small. Like people nowadays, they have some very limited ability. They are good athletes. They're good basketball players. Good whatever. They're good speakers. They look beautiful. They're nice. They're singing nice. They wanna capitalize on this big time. They base their whole life on this. Everything they do is to promote themselves, although they don't really have good qualities, usually. I mean, some do, And the greatest personalities, they present themselves as crazy people. If we have bad qualities, we all do. We try to hide them and to present the best version of ourselves. The great personalities, they do the opposite. They don't have bad qualities. But they pretend to be crazy people so that people leave them alone. Don't bother them. Because when the materialistic people bother you, they give you bad association, and then you can become influenced. And you can become proud because they glorify you, etc. Who is a good example for this? Jada Bharata from 5th canto. After he became a deer in previous life, he decided that when he became again human, took a human birth, he decided that's it. No more compromise. I'm not going to do any more compromise.
No risks.
He refused to participate in anything connected to mundane society.
That's how I get roped into things. I just want to chant Hare Krishna and be happy.
Я хочу только мантрават.
Come on, Travat,
Мантрават.
Mantravat, Bhajanananti. Straight up.
Otherwise, okay. So, you are the spiritual master of great saints and devotees. I am therefore begging you to show the way of perfection for all persons, and especially for one who is about to die. Please let me know what a man should hear, chant, remember, and worship, and also what he should not do. So these are the do's and don'ts. You have to do this, and you should not do this. These are the what we call rules and regulations, positive and negative. Please explain all this to me. O powerful Brahmana, it is said that you hardly stay in the houses of men long enough to milk a cow. Sri Suta Goswami said, the king thus spoke and questioned the sage using sweet language. This is very important. This is how you approach a great personality, because you want to endear him. Sweet language, proper attitude, humble mood is very important. Otherwise, he won't be inspired to share his knowledge with you. You don't go and demand, like people on the street. They sometimes, you meet somebody distributing books, and people say, okay, tell me what is, okay, well, you have 30 seconds. I'm very busy. You tell me what is. I mean, you can do something with this. At least he's giving you 30 seconds. We take it in positive way, but that's not the proper attitude.
Most times it's just waiting you up.
Yeah, like 90%, but 99%. Okay, because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that this is the prerequisite of attaining knowledge. You have to be humble and have desire to render service. Okay, then the great and powerful personality, the son of Vyasadeva, who knew the principles of religion. This is called Dharma Gya. One who knows the principles of religion began his reply. This end the Bhaktivinoda purports, the first canto, 19th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Appearance of Shukadeva Goswami, and this is the end of the first canto. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the sum of devotees.
So what happened? Parikshit Maharaj wants to know what is the most important thing to do when you are just about to die. And Shukadeva Goswami appeared, and he, as Pandava said, in a sweet manner, with the sweet words, he asked him all these important, very, very important questions. And now the whole Srimad Bhagavatam is answer to many, many important spiritual questions, but especially to this most important question. What is the thing we have to do in order to prepare ourselves for the last exam? What is the last exam?
Then.
Yes, the last exam is, are you going to be able to remember Krishna?
Smile.
at the time of death. And if you do, then exam is done properly.
And it doesn't depend what is your social position. It doesn't really depend on it. You may be brahmachari, you may be sannyasi, you may be grihasta, you may be vanaprastha, it doesn't matter. You may be sannyasi, you may be guru, you may be GBC, whatever. But are you Krishna conscious? That's the question.
Kind of goes past the question you want to ask. What they need to get in a living in the ashram, right? That's what you're asking. The question you were asking, whether they need to be living in an ashram
Yes.
to be able to practice.
There are many things there like crutches.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
So these things, they are helping you, but at the end of the day, they may help you, they may not help you. Again, most important thing is, are you Krishna conscious? Like, for example, you may have a rich father, and your rich father may give you $100,000 to start a successful business. But it may help you because it's a good help, but it may not help you. The question is not, do you have $100,000 to become a good businessman? The question is, are you ready to put the endeavors to become a good businessman?
Sure, what I heard is almost impossible to remember Krishna for the jiva at the end of the life of the body, and it's only by Krishna's mercy that one is able to. And then,
Yes
and
and
that's
no.
where the endeavor comes in. If
Yes
somebody
and no.
has endeavored.
Yes, because it depends on the mercy of Krishna. But no, because if it was only depending on the mercy of Krishna, why then we are practicing?
The
Yeah.
two fingers.
2 fingers. Why? Because in our mind there are so many samskaras or memories, and many of them are strange samskaras. Now what we are trying to do with this lifestyle is we are trying to push those bad samskaras somewhere very much back and exchange them with the good samskaras.
Under the
It's
rug,
like,
under the rug.
it's like on these medias, you know, sometimes you watch something nice, sometimes you watch something strange,
Xbox controller.
and it's a mixture. It's a mixture. So this is what's happening in our mind. It's a mixture of good thoughts and bad thoughts, good inclinations, bad inclinations, good desires, bad desires. Now what we are trying to do is every time when we have to make a choice where we are going to click and what will come on the surface, every time we are trying to make the good choice.
You have a question. Matthew wants to ask a question.
So that means more and more and more that these bad samskaras are going behind. The more good samskaras, the easier it will be to make the final choice.
Mas, you want to ask something? I saw a hand here. Is that you?
No, I think Olga wrote farewell that she had to go in the
Okay,
chat.
okay. All right. Okay. I see some.
Thumbs up.
Okay. Okay, Hare Krishna. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you both so much. Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada
you.
ki
Jai.
Samaveta Bhakti